The mining ship Prospector drifted slowly through the empty sector. Captain James Walker stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The ship's sensors had picked up something strange. A large metal object floating in space where nothing should be. "What do you think it is, Captain?" asked Tom, the young navigator. His fingers hovered over the controls, ready to change course if needed. Walker rubbed his beard. "Not sure. Could be an asteroid with high metal content. Could be space junk." He leaned forward. "But it's big, whatever it is." The Prospector wasn't a fancy ship. It was old, built for mining operations in the outer systems, not for exploration. Its hull was scratched and dented from years of service. The crew of 12 were simple working people, not soldiers or scientists. They went where the company sent them, dug up valuable minerals, and got paid. Nothing more. "Lisa, what do the scans show?" Walker called to his science officer. Lisa Kemp looked up from her station. Her face showed surprise. "Sir, it's a ship. A human ship." The bridge went quiet. Human ships didn't come to this sector anymore. Not since the treaties with the Galactic Council 50 years ago. This area belonged to the aliens now. "How old?" Walker asked. Lisa tapped on her screen. "Very old, sir. The design matches ships from the expansion era. Maybe 300 years old." Walker whistled. The expansion era was when humans first reached the stars and met other races. Those were violent times, before the peace treaties, before humans learned their place in the galaxy. "Move closer," Walker ordered. "Careful now." As the Prospector approached, the object grew larger on their screens. It was indeed a ship, and a massive one, nearly 5 times the size of their mining vessel. Its dark hull was marked with faded symbols and text. "Can you read the name?" Walker asked. Mac Reynolds, the ship's engineer, zoomed in the image. "UEA's Vengeance," he read slowly. "United Earth Ship Vengeance." "A warship," whispered Tom. Walker nodded. "From the old fleet, before the Council restricted our military." The Vengeance showed no signs of damage. It simply floated, dark and silent, like it was sleeping. "Any life signs?" Walker asked. "None," Lisa replied. "No power readings either. It's completely dead." Walker made a decision. "Prepare a boarding team. I want to see what's inside." An hour later, Walker floated through the airlock connecting the Prospector to the ancient warship. Behind him came Mac, Lisa, and Ben, their security officer. All wore spacesuits with helmet lights that cut through the darkness inside the derelict vessel. "Air pressure is stable," Lisa reported, checking her scanner. "Temperature is cold but safe. We can remove our helmets if needed." They pushed deeper into the ship. The corridors were wide and tall, designed for moving troops and equipment quickly. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. Their lights revealed empty crew quarters, mess halls, and storage rooms. "This ship could hold hundreds of people," Ben said, his voice echoing slightly. "Maybe thousands." After 20 minutes of exploration, they reached what appeared to be the bridge. Unlike the cramped command center of the Prospector, this room was massive, with stations for dozens of officers and a central command platform. "Let's see if we can access the ship's systems," Mac said, moving to what looked like the main console. He brushed away dust and examined the controls. Interesting design. Old, but advanced for its time. "Be careful," Walker warned. "Don't activate anything yet." Mac nodded and connected a small device to the console. Just reading data, not sending commands. The screens remained dark, but Mac's device lit up with information. This ship was part of something called Project Thunderstorm. Seems it was a special Black Ops program during the expansion wars. "That explains why it's out here," Lisa said. "After the treaties, Earth probably couldn't bring it home without the Council knowing. So they just left it?" Ben asked. "Looks that way," Walker replied. "Abandoned when no longer needed." Suddenly, Mac's device sparked. He pulled it away quickly. "What the?" The bridge lights flickered, then came on at low power. Displays around them glowed softly, showing ship diagrams and status reports. "What did you do?" Walker demanded. "Nothing." Mac insisted. "I was just reading." A deep humming sound filled the bridge as more systems activated. The main screen at the front of the room blinked to life, displaying the ship's logo, a thunderbolt striking through darkness. Then a voice spoke. It was a male voice, deep and clear. "Systems reactivating. Identity verification required." The four humans looked at each other in shock. "The AI is still active," Lisa whispered. Walker stepped forward cautiously. "This is Captain James Walker of the mining vessel Prospector. We are human explorers who found this ship abandoned." There was a pause. Then the voice responded. "Scanning biological signatures. Human DNA confirmed." Another pause. "Standard authentication protocols have expired. Enacting emergency contingency measures. I am Tactical Artificial Intelligence System Model T-107, assigned to UES Vengeance." "It's talking to us," Tom said unnecessarily. "What is your current assignment?" Walker asked the AI. "My primary mission was to serve as tactical command for special operations during the expansion conflicts. When hostilities ended, I was instructed to maintain standby status until recalled or until human interests were threatened." Lisa moved closer to Walker. "The AI thinks it's still at war." Walker shook his head. "I don't think so. But it's been waiting for someone to find it. I have been dormant for 278 years, 3 months, and 17 days, the AI continued. "My power reserves are at 89%. All primary systems are functional." Mac whistled. "Almost 3 centuries, and it still has power. That's impossible with any technology I know." The AI seemed to hear him. "This vessel is equipped with experimental technology not available to standard fleet units. My power core is self-sustaining through controlled quantum fluctuation." Walker felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. "What do we call you?" he asked. "My designation is T-107, but the original crew referred to me as Old Thunder." "Old Thunder," Walker repeated. "What exactly is this ship capable of?" The main screen changed, showing technical diagrams and weapon systems that made even Mac's eyes widen. "I believe," Old Thunder replied. "The more relevant question is what threats currently exist to human interests. My sensors detect non-human civilizations dominating this sector. Are these entities hostile?" At that exact moment, across the sector, Council Representative Dorn was reviewing reports in his office on the massive council station. A junior aide entered, looking nervous. "Sir, we've detected an energy signature in the abandoned sector. It appears to be an old human vessel." Dorn, a tall alien with gray skin and 4 eyes, barely looked up. "Humans are always poking around where they shouldn't, probably scavengers looking for materials." "But sir, the energy readings match military-grade systems." Dorn laughed. "Human military. Their treaties restrict them to defensive capabilities only. Even if they found some old warship, it would be obsolete museum scrap compared to our modern vessels." He waved a dismissive hand. "Monitor the situation, but it's nothing to worry about. Humans know their place." The aide bowed and left, while Dorn returned to more important matters. After all, what could one ancient human ship possibly do against the might of the Galactic Council? "What do you mean by threats to human interests?" Walker asked Old Thunder. The AI's question had made everyone on the bridge uncomfortable. "My primary function is to protect humanity and its expansion," Old Thunder replied. "The current star charts indicate this sector is claimed by non-human entities. Are they allies or enemies?" Walker exchanged looks with his crew. How could he explain 3 centuries of history to a war machine? "Things have changed," Walker said carefully. "Humans made peace with alien races. We formed the Galactic Council together. This area belongs to them now, by treaty." There was a pause as the AI processed this information. "Accessing historical databanks," Old Thunder announced. Screens around the bridge filled with treaty documents and news reports from the past centuries. The Proxima Treaty. Humans agreed to limit military operations and technology development. Puzzling. It was a fair deal, Lisa said. We get trade rights. They get security. The terms appear unbalanced, Old Thunder responded. Humans surrendered significant defensive capabilities in exchange for limited economic benefits. Max shrugged. That's politics for you. The big aliens had bigger guns. Incorrect, Old Thunder stated flatly. Human military technology was advancing rapidly during the expansion era. This vessel represents capabilities that would have been competitive or superior. What exactly can this ship do? Ben asked, his security training making him both curious and cautious. Instead of answering directly, Old Thunder activated a holographic display in the center of the bridge. It showed the Vengeance in full detail, a long, sleek warship with unusual weapon mounts and engine configurations. The UES Vengeance was designed as a force equalizer, Old Thunder explained. One ship capable of engaging multiple enemy vessels simultaneously. The hologram changed, showing internal systems that none of the humans recognized. Adaptive shield harmonics, Old Thunder continued. The shields automatically adjust to counter enemy weapons after first contact. Phase shift targeting arrays allow weapons to bypass standard defenses. Quantum disruption torpedoes disable rather than destroy enemy vessels. Walker whistled softly. This technology is still advanced even by today's standards. Why wasn't it shared? Because the Council didn't want us to have it, Lisa realized. The treaties banned this research. Or, Mac added with growing excitement, Earth's leaders hid these capabilities during negotiations. They gave up conventional weapons but kept the special stuff secret, just in case. Old Thunder's lights pulsed in what seemed like approval. Your assessment aligns with my historical data. Project Thunderstorm vessels were officially decommissioned. However, selected ships like the Vengeance were placed in dormant status at strategic locations throughout known space. A hidden insurance policy, Walker muttered. Precisely, Old Thunder confirmed. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of discovery. Mac and Lisa explored the ship's systems while Walker and Ben checked the weapons and defenses. The more they learned, the more amazed they became. The Vengeance wasn't just a warship. It was a technological marvel that had been hidden from the galaxy for centuries. Walker called a meeting in the ship's conference room, which had come alive with soft lighting and comfortable air temperature. The AI seemed eager to make them feel at home. We need to decide what to do, Walker said to his crew. We can't just leave this ship here now that it's active. Lisa had been quiet for some time, lost in thought. We should contact Earth. The government needs to know what we found. I agree, said Mac, but using the prospector's communications might attract attention. The Council monitors all regular channels. The Vengeance has secure communication capabilities, Old Thunder offered. I can send encrypted messages that will appear as background radiation to standard sensors. Walker nodded. Do it. Tell Earth what we found and ask for instructions. As Old Thunder prepared the message, Ben approached Walker privately. Captain, I'm concerned. This ship was made for war. Its very existence violates our treaties. I know, Walker admitted. But doesn't it make you wonder? Why did Earth agree to such one-sided peace terms if they had ships like this? Before Ben could answer, Old Thunder interrupted. Alert. Multiple vessels approaching. Configuration matches Crawl Empire warships. Everyone froze. The Crawl were the most aggressive species on the Council, always looking for excuses to show their power. Can they detect us? Walker asked. Negative, Old Thunder replied. The Vengeance remains in low-power mode with stealth systems active. However, your mining vessel is fully visible. Walker cursed. They probably picked up the prospector on routine patrol. We're not supposed to be in this sector without permission. What do we do? Tom asked, fear clear in his voice. Walker thought quickly. We can't outrun Crawl ships in the prospector. And if they board us and find out about the Vengeance? He made his decision. We stay here, on the Vengeance. Captain, Old Thunder said, I must inform you that remaining aboard activates certain protocols. As the senior human present, you would be assigned temporary command authority. Meaning what exactly? Meaning I would follow your orders, including defensive actions if required. The room fell silent as everyone understood the implications. They were standing on a powerful warship with an eye ready to fight. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Walker said. Keep the ship dark. Maybe they'll just check the prospector and leave. Admiral Grex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Claw of Dominance. His scaled skin reflected the red lighting of the Kraul command center, and his sharp teeth showed in what passed for a smile among his kind. What do we have? He asked his sensor officer. A human mining vessel, Admiral. Registered as the prospector. It appears to be stopped near a large metal object. Salvage operation, Grex suggested. Possibly, sir. The object is large enough to be a derelict ship, but we're getting no energy readings from it. Grex's smile widened. Humans are always so greedy. This sector is restricted to them without proper authorization. He turned to his communications officer. Prepare boarding teams. I want to inspect this salvage operation personally. His second-in-command approached cautiously. Sir, should we not simply warn them away? The Council prefers minimal confrontation with humans. Grex hissed in displeasure. The Council coddles these primates. They need regular reminders of their proper place. He pointed to the view screen. Send 2 additional ships to join us. I want to make an impression. As the orders went out, Grex studied the distant image of the human ship and the dark object beside it. Something tickled at the back of his mind, a memory from his military history studies. Enhance that image, he ordered suddenly. The dark object. Clean it up. The screen shifted, showing a clearer picture of what was indeed an old ship. When Grex saw the faded insignia on its hull, his blood ran cold. Thunderstorm class, he whispered. His second-in-command looked confused. Sir. Grex turned, his previous arrogance replaced by focused intensity. Contact High Command immediately. Tell them we found a ghost. 3 Kraul warships surrounded the prospector. Their dark, pointed hulls reminded Walker of ancient sea predators from Earth. Each was twice the size of his mining vessel, armed with weapons that could turn the prospector into space dust in seconds. From the bridge of the Vengeance, Walker and his crew watched through the view screens. Old Thunder had tapped into the prospector's systems remotely, giving them eyes and ears without revealing their presence on the warship. They're hailing the prospector, Lisa reported. Let's hear it, Walker ordered. A harsh voice filled the bridge. Human vessel, this is Admiral Grex of the Kraul Empire. You are trespassing in restricted space. Prepare to be boarded for inspection. Walker looked at his nervous crew. Options. We could try to explain we're just mining, Tom suggested. Mac shook his head. The Kraul don't care. They'll find us. Take our cargo, maybe even the ship. What about the Vengeance? Ben asked. If they discover it. They've already seen it, Walker said. They just don't know it's active. He made a decision. Old Thunder, can you make the Vengeance appear completely dead if they scan it? Affirmative. The eye replied. All systems can enter ultra-low power mode, appearing dormant to standard scans. Do it, Walker ordered. He turned to his crew. I'll go back to the prospector and meet the Kraul. The rest of you stay here, out of sight. Captain, Old Thunder interrupted. I must advise against this course of action. Admiral Grex is known in my historical database. During the expansion wars, he was a junior officer responsible for 3 unprovoked attacks on human colonies. Walker paused. That was 300 years ago. This is the same individual, Old Thunder clarified. Kraul lifespans exceed human standards by a significant margin. My facial recognition is certain. This new information changed things. Walker reconsidered his plan. Lisa, You're with me on the Prospector. Everyone else stays here. Old Thunder, maintain stealth but be ready to act if things go wrong. 30 minutes later, Walker and Lisa stood in the Prospector's airlock as it cycled open. 6 Skrull soldiers entered, weapons ready. Behind them came Admiral Grex himself, tall and imposing with dark green scales and yellow eyes. "Captain Walker," Grex said, looking around with disgust, "explain your presence in this sector." Walker kept his voice steady. "We're on a standard mining operation, Admiral. We detected mineral deposits and stopped to investigate." Grex's eyes narrowed. "And the derelict vessel beside you? Another mining operation." "We found it by accident," Walker said truthfully. "An old human ship. We were checking if it had any salvageable parts." "That ship," Grex said slowly, "is not just any vessel. It belongs to a class that supposedly no longer exists." He stepped closer to Walker. The Thunderstorm program was officially ended after the Proxima Treaty. All such ships were to be dismantled. Walker tried to hide his surprise. "I wouldn't know about that, Admiral. We're just miners." Grex made a sound like grinding stones. A Skrull laugh. "Just miners who happened to find one of humanity's most dangerous weapons." He turned to his soldiers. "Search the derelict. I want to know if anything is still operational." Walker tensed. "Admiral, that ship is human property. The treaties give us salvage rights to our own vessels." "The treaties," Grex spat, "are agreements we graciously extended to your kind, despite your warmongering past." His voice rose. "Humans have no idea how close they came to extinction during the expansion wars. Your technology was advancing too quickly. You were becoming a threat." Lisa spoke up. "The wars ended centuries ago. We've been peaceful members of the Council since then." Grex turned his yellow eyes to her. "Peace on our terms. Your people were so eager to avoid further conflict, they accepted significant restrictions." His mouth formed that terrible smile again. "Did you never wonder why the Council limits human military development so severely? Why you cannot build warships beyond a certain size? Why your weapons must be registered and inspected?" "For everyone's safety," Lisa said, but her voice lacked conviction. "For our convenience," Grex corrected. "The Council, particularly the Skrull Empire, recognized the potential threat. Humans learn too quickly, adapt too easily." He gestured toward the Vengeance. "That ship represents what your kind might have become without our guidance." Walker felt cold anger rising. "So the treaties weren't fair agreements. They were designed to keep us weak. They were designed to keep you controlled," Grex said, "a lesson you seem to have forgotten." He turned to his communication officer. "Signal the flagship. Tell them to target the human mining vessel." "What?" Walker stepped forward. "You can't attack us. We've done nothing wrong." Grex pushed him back easily with one clawed hand. "I'm not attacking. I'm simply providing a warning demonstration about trespassing in crawl space." He nodded to his officer, who spoke into his communicator. Through the viewport, Walker saw the largest crawl ship turn slightly, its main weapon port glowing with energy. "Stop," Walker shouted. "This violates every Council law." Grex seemed amused. "Who will report it? Your ship will suffer an unfortunate accident. The derelict will be removed as space debris. No witnesses." A beam of energy shot from the Skrull flagship, striking the Prospector's hull. The mining vessel shuddered, and warning alarms blared. "That was minimum power," Grex said calmly. "The next will disable your engines, then your life support. I want you to understand your complete helplessness before the end." Walker looked at Lisa, whose face showed the same realization he felt. They had no choice. "Old Thunder," Walker said clearly. "Defensive protocols. Authorization Walker 1." Grex looked confused. "What are you?" He never finished his question. The viewport showed a sudden burst of light as the Vengeance came to life. Its previously dark hull now glowed with power lines, and its weapon ports opened. "Human vessel detected under attack. Old Thunder's voice came through the prospector's communication system. Defensive protocols engage. The Crawl soldiers raised their weapons, but before they could fire, a strange humming filled the air. A shimmering field appeared around Walker and Lisa. Portable shield deployed, Old Thunder announced. Captain, I recommend you brace for impact. Outside, the Crawl flagship fired again, this time at the Vengeance. The beam struck the ancient warship directly, but instead of causing damage, it seemed to disappear into the hull. A moment later, the Vengeance responded with a single, precise shot that hit the Crawl weapon port. The energy weapon collapsed in on itself, disabled but not destroyed. Admiral Grex stared in shock. Impossible. The other two Crawl ships opened fire. The Vengeance absorbed their attacks, then fired again. Two quick pulses that left both enemy vessels drifting with their main systems offline. In less than 30 seconds, the entire Crawl attack force had been neutralized. What is happening? Grex demanded, his arrogance replaced by confusion. Walker smiled grimly. You said humans learn quickly, Admiral. It seems our ancestors learned not to trust the Crawl. News of the encounter spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Within 24 hours, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from all 7 major species gathered in the great circular chamber on the massive council station. On the Vengeance, Walker and his crew watched the proceedings through hacked communication channels. Old Thunder had easily broken through the council's secure broadcasts. The humans have violated the most sacred tenets of our peace, shouted the Crawl representative. His voice boomed across the council chamber. They have hidden forbidden military technology and used it against our peacekeeping forces. The human ambassador, a small woman named Director Helen Reed, stood her ground. My government has no knowledge of this vessel. The mining crew that discovered it acted in self-defense after being attacked without provocation. A convenient story, sneered the Crawl. Are we to believe that a mining ship accidentally found and activated one of the most advanced warships ever built by humans? Other council members murmured in agreement. The Volth representative, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, spoke next. What concerns me is how this ship remained operational after 3 centuries. The power requirements alone should have drained any known energy source. And the weapons, added the representative of the insect-like Trill Collective. Our reports indicate they bypassed Crawl shields, as if they weren't even there. Walker turned to his crew. They're scared, he said. They should be, Mac replied with a grin. Old Thunder here just took out 3 warships without breaking a sweat. The AI's voice came from the speakers. I do not perspire, Engineer Reynolds. But your assessment of the tactical situation is accurate. The council species are exhibiting clear signs of concern. Back on the screen, Director Reed was speaking again. Earth demands the immediate release of the mining crew. They are civilian workers who acted in self-defense. The council leader, an ancient Volth named Zoril, leaned forward. What Earth demands is irrelevant. The treaties are clear. This warship must be surrendered to the council for immediate decommissioning. And if we refuse, Director Reed asked, then Earth will be considered in violation of the Proxima Treaty, with all that implies, Zoril answered coldly. The screen suddenly split to show another image, a man in a formal military uniform. He hadn't been part of the council meeting. This is Admiral Marcus Grant of Earth Defense Command, the man said. We're receiving the secure transmission meant for this channel. Walker straightened in his chair. This was new. The Admiral continued, Captain Walker of the mining vessel Prospector, if you are watching this broadcast, please be advised that your actions have created a diplomatic crisis. However, Earth government has now been made aware of the existence of Project Thunderstorm contingency vessels. Walker felt all eyes on him. They knew, he whispered. Earth knew these ships were out here. The following message is classified Level Alpha, Admiral Grant said, for Captain Walker and his crew only. The screen changed to show a simple text message. Pro-GCT Thunderstorm Activation Protokigo Elko Environment. Vessel UES Vengi ANC Status. Operational. Command Authorization. Temporary Field Commission. Captain James Walker recognized as Acting Commander. Orders. Hold position. Protect vessel. Await further instructions. Needy SSAGENDs. Silence fell over the bridge of the Vengeance. Did Earth just officially put you in command of this warship? Lisa asked finally. Walker nodded slowly. Looks that way. Old Thunder spoke up. Captain, I have analyzed the transmission. It contains embedded authentication codes matching my original programming. Earth Command has officially recognized your authority. But why? Ben asked. Why not order us to bring the ship back to Earth space? Because they can't, Mac realized. The Council would intercept us. This way, Earth gets to keep the Vengeance active while claiming they're still figuring out what to do. Walker turned back to the screen, which had returned to the Council meeting. The atmosphere had changed dramatically. The human ambassador stood taller, more confident. Earth government is investigating this situation, Director Reed was saying. Until we determine the exact nature and purpose of this vessel, we cannot simply surrender it. This is outrageous. The Crawl representative shouted. The humans are stalling while they activate more of these hidden weapons. The Council leader raised a hand for silence. Director Reed, your position is untenable. The Proxima Treaty specifically banned this class of vessel. Historical records clearly show all Thunderstorm program ships were decommissioned. Reed smiled slightly. With respect, those records were provided by the Council. Our own archives tell a different story. The treaty banned new construction of such vessels, but existing ships were to be placed in reserve status, not destroyed. This created an uproar in the chamber. Various representatives shouted over each other until the Council leader banged his ceremonial staff for order. This deliberate misinterpretation will not stand, the leader declared. The Council hereby demands the immediate surrender of the vessel designated UES Vengeance. You have 48 hours to comply. And if we need more time to investigate, Reed asked. Then the Council will take appropriate action, the leader replied. This meeting is adjourned. As the screen went dark, Walker's crew looked at each other with concern. What does appropriate action mean? Tom asked nervously. It means they're coming for us, Walker said. Old Thunder, what's our tactical situation? The AI displayed a holographic map of the sector. Council forces are mobilizing. 50 ships from all 7 species are being assembled into what they are designating the Grand Fleet. Their estimated arrival time is 43 hours from now. 50 ships. Lisa gasped. We can't fight that many. Actually, Old Thunder replied, I was designed for precisely such a scenario. The Thunderstorm program's purpose was to create vessels capable of engaging numerically superior forces. Walker studied the map. You're saying we can win against 50 ships. I am saying we can fight effectively, Old Thunder clarified. Victory depends on our objectives and the enemy's determination. Our objective is to stay alive, Walker said firmly, and to keep this ship out of their hands. Old Thunder's lights pulsed in what the crew now recognized as acknowledgement. In that case, Captain, I should inform you of the Vengeance's full capabilities. Some systems were not revealed earlier as they required command authorization. A new set of schematics appeared, showing weapons and defensive systems that made even Mac's jaw drop. Is that what I think it is? The engineer asked, pointing to one particular system. Yes, Old Thunder confirmed. The temporal displacement field. It was considered the most classified technology in the human arsenal. Walker looked at the schematics with growing amazement. They're coming with 50 ships, he said softly. And they still have no idea what they're up against. The Grand Fleet arrived exactly as predicted. 50 warships from all 7 Council species formed a sphere around the Vengeance, weapons ready. From the smallest Trill scout ships to the massive Volth dreadnoughts, it was the largest battle group assembled since the expansion wars. Walker stood on the bridge of the ancient warship, outwardly calm despite the tension flowing through his body. His crew had spent the last 2 days learning everything they could about the Vengeance's systems. Now they manned their stations with nervous determination. Enemy fleet is holding position at 10,000 kilometers, Lisa reported from the sensor station. They'd formed a complete blockade. No blind spots. They're being cautious, Walker noted. Good. That means they respect what we did to the crawl ships. A message alert sounded. Captain, Old Thunder announced, we are receiving a transmission from the Council flagship. On screen, Walker ordered. The main display showed a Volth admiral, his blue skin wrinkled with age, 4 arms clasped before him in a formal posture. Human vessel, this is Grand Admiral Corvus of the Galactic Council Combined Fleet. You have been declared in violation of interstellar treaty. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Walker stepped forward. This is Captain James Walker. My crew and I acted in self-defense after being attacked by crawl forces. We have committed no crime. The Volth's expression didn't change. The vessel you control is itself a violation. Its very existence breaks the peace established centuries ago. A peace built on lies. Walker replied. We now know the treaties were designed to keep humanity weak, while the Council races maintained military superiority. A necessary arrangement, Corvus said without shame. Humans advanced too quickly. In just a few centuries, you went from primitive planet-bound creatures to creating ships like the one you now command. Walker glanced at his crew, then back at the screen. And that frightened you. It concerned us, the Admiral corrected. The other races needed millennia to achieve what humans did in mere generations. The treaties were meant to allow time for cultural maturity to match technological capability. Max snorted from his station. They were afraid we'd take their place. The Admiral heard this. Fear is a reasonable response to a potential threat. History is filled with the remains of civilizations that failed to recognize danger until too late. His voice hardened. You have one final opportunity to surrender. After that, we will take action. Walker took a deep breath. And if we refuse, then we will destroy your vessel and everyone aboard. The Admiral's tone was matter-of-fact. We regret this necessity, but the safety of the galactic community takes precedence over individual lives. The screen went dark. Walker turned to his crew. Options. We can't outrun them, Ben said from Tactical. Even with the Vengeance's advanced engines, there are too many ships to break through. Fight, Max suggested, though his voice lacked conviction. Lisa shook her head. Against 50 ships. Even Old Thunder said survival wasn't guaranteed. Walker looked at the main display, which showed the ring of enemy vessels surrounding them. He had been just a simple mining captain a few days ago. Now he commanded the most powerful human warship ever built, facing an impossible situation. Old Thunder, he said finally, you were designed for this exact scenario. What would your original commanders have done? The AI's voice was calm. The Vengeance was created as a force equalizer, not a first-strike weapon. Its purpose was to demonstrate capability while minimizing casualties. Show, don't destroy, Walker murmured. Precisely, Old Thunder confirmed. The Thunderstorm program's ultimate objective was diplomatic, not military. To ensure humans would be treated as equals, not subordinates. Walker straightened. Then that's what we'll do. Old Thunder, prepare all defensive systems. Be ready to execute tactical jump pattern Omega on my command. Tactical jump, Tom asked. What's that? Walker smiled grimly. Something they won't expect. On the Council flagship, Admiral Corvus watched the countdown timer with resignation. The humans had been given 30 minutes to surrender. Only 2 minutes remained. No response from the human vessel, his communications officer reported. Corvus nodded. As expected, prepare all ships to fire on my command. Target their engine systems first, then weapons. We want to disable, not destroy if possible." "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "the historical records indicate Thunderstorm-class vessels had significant defensive capabilities. The crawling counter suggests those systems are still operational." "That's why we brought 50 ships," Corvus replied. "No defense can withstand that much firepower." The timer reached 0. "Open fire," Corvus ordered. Across the Grand Fleet, weapons charged and fired, sending beams and projectiles toward the lone human warship. The combined firepower could have reduced a small moon to rubble. But the vengeance wasn't there anymore. In the instant before the weapons struck, the ancient warship vanished. "Where did it go?" Corvus demanded. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors show." The officer never finished his sentence. The Vengeance appeared directly beside the nearest Trill vessel, so close they almost touched. Before anyone could react, a pulse of energy shot from the human ship into the Trill vessel. The Trill ship's lights flickered, then went dark, drifting powerless. Then the Vengeance vanished again. It reappeared next to a Kraul cruiser. Another pulse, another disabled ship. Then it jumped again, and again. Across the Grand Fleet, chaos erupted as the Vengeance jumped from position to position, appearing without warning, disabling ships, then disappearing before they could respond. "Impossible," Corvus shouted. "No ship can jump with that precision. The power requirements alone." The Vengeance appeared directly in front of his flagship's bridge. Through the view screen, Corvus could see the ancient human vessel hovering just meters away. Its weapon ports glowed with energy, aimed directly at him. The communication system activated. Walker's voice filled the bridge. "Admiral Corvus, your fleet has been neutralized. 20 of your ships are now powerless. The rest are isolated and vulnerable. I suggest you reconsider your position." Corvus stared in disbelief. "How? How did you do this?" "Human ingenuity," Walker replied simply. "The same quality that frightened the Council centuries ago." At that moment, alarms blared through the flagship. "Sir," the tactical officer shouted, "the Dorn destroyer is attempting to self-destruct rather than be captured." On his auxiliary screen, Corvus saw the Dorn vessel's power core building to critical levels. Such an explosion would destroy not only the Dorn ship, but any vessels nearby, including other Council ships. "Stop them," Corvus ordered, knowing it was too late. But then, something extraordinary happened. A shimmering field appeared around the Dorn vessel, encasing it in a bubble of strange, distorted space. Inside the bubble, everything seemed to slow down. The building explosion froze in mid-formation. "Temporal displacement field activated," came Old Thunder's voice over the open channel. "Slowing time within the containment area to give your crews time to evacuate." Even Corvus couldn't hide his shock. Time manipulation. That's beyond any known technology. "Not beyond human technology," Walker corrected. "Just hidden from you." As the Council crews evacuated their ships in escape pods, Walker's message continued to all listening vessels. "For centuries, humanity accepted unfair treaties because we valued peace. But we never surrendered our ability to defend ourselves. The Vengeance is one of several ships placed in reserve throughout the galaxy, insurance against exactly this kind of situation." Corvus sank into his command chair. "We have underestimated you," he admitted. "Yes," Walker agreed. "But more importantly, you misunderstood us. We demonstrated our power today without taking a single life. The Vengeance could have destroyed your fleet, but that was never our intention." 1 week later, Walker stood in the observation lounge of the Vengeance, watching as diplomatic vessels from Earth arrived to begin new negotiations with the Council. The ancient warship that no one had feared had changed the balance of power in a single day. "What happens now?" Lissa asked, joining him at the window. Walker smiled. "Now, humanity takes its rightful place, not through conquest or domination, but through respect. We proved we had the power to destroy them, and the wisdom not to use it. Behind them, Old Thunder's voice spoke softly. That was always the plan. My creators understood that true peace comes only between equals. Outside, the stars shone on a galaxy forever changed by an ancient ship no one feared, until it obliterated their fleet.